You watched something though, a little something that I watched last year.
Oh, okay now. You get one time to make that joke, and you've used up your one-time pass. So don't do it again. Yes, Rebel Moon came out.
Yes, on Netflix. The Zack Snyder
Star Wars.
wants to be Star Wars.
Yeah.
Movie series.
Yes.
Probably trilogy. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
The child of something or other. I don't know what it's called. Subtitle.
Yeah. So I watched the entire thing.
Yep.
And you watched?
Well, can you guess what part I stopped watching at?
You stopped watching when they went to the planet with the Griffin thing.
And he was riding it?
And he was riding it.
Wow. How did you know? That's crazy. He flew away and I was like, it's okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I saw.
I may know your preferences in things.
It was just, anyways, it was just so stupid. So the lore of this, history of this was like Zack Snyder was like, I'm going to write an R-rated Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney was like, no, thank you. And then he took it to Netflix and Netflix was like, okay, here you go. Here's $200 million. Go wild. And he made this movie.
And he did go wild.
He made a movie. It is R-rated movie. Sure. Yes. It's also just as bad as like the recent Star Wars movies. Like I would not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. They're bad too.
Yeah.
The only reason I would finish watching the Star Wars ones was because, well, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's done in the Star Wars style, whereas Rebel Moon is done in the Zack Snyder style.
Well, that too, but like, there's also parts in Star Wars where it would be like, oh, Princess Leia's flying around in outer space. If that was any other movie, I'd be like, it's time to turn this off.
Yeah,
but it's Star Wars, so it's like, well, where is this gonna go?
Yeah,
can they make this any worse? And it's just like, we got to show these guys are bad here. So you know what? We're going to make them into assaulters and they're going to assault this girl. And that's the only reason this other girl's going to stay around to help is because they were going to assault this girl.
Yeah.
And she's actually really badass and she kills everybody.
Yep. And here's your robot friend.
And here's a robot that has a prime directive to not hurt anybody.
Yep.
Once the queen is dead. But, maybe this is the princess here. We're implying she's the princess. But maybe not. Hey, you really look like the princess. Wink, wink. And it's got like, they're all dressed like the guys that come to the planet are dressed like Nazis and, they look like they're wearing their fascist outfit.
Yep. Nothing, nothing out of the ordinary for a fascist party.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, like, their outfits don't even look futuristic. It's just like, oh, you just came from Earth.
They just took a Nazi uniform and were like,
1940.
take that skull off of his hat. We don't need that skull on there. But it was also like another one where it's like, we can, skip over this part here. Like, we got to go to this planet to find something. Oh no, they kidnapped the guy I need. We'll go in here and we'll get into a fight and we recruited another buddy to come with us. Let's go to this planet. We got to get a riding guy. And then it's like, well, I want to have him. How can I have him? Let me buy him. And he's not for sale. But you know what I like? Gambling. How about we wager on it? And if you lose, you'll become my slaves. Sure. And I was like, this fucking movie can just get out of here.
So,
yeah.
First half.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it the first chapter of the movie.
Okay.
They're on the planet.
Yeah.
We're learning about the characters. There's some actual character development. I'm invested.
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, again, it's just another science fiction fantasy thing where it's like, okay.
Yeah.
This is their fake ass. It's like watching The Mandalorian where it's just like, this is the way.
Yep.
So it's like some bullshit someone written down on a page. Why is it like this? That's the way it is. Why is it like this on this planet? It's the way it is.
Yeah.
Why does the horse look like that? It's the way it is.
It's just how it looks.
Yeah.
They, in the first chapter of this movie, they did a proper job introducing people, introducing backstories, getting some intrigue going, making it so you want to continue to watch the movie. Second chapter of the movie, they leave the planet.
Yeah.
And then it's just, here's this character, here's 20 seconds of backstory, here's this character, here's 20 seconds of backstory, here's this character, here's no backstory, here's this character, this character, this character. Oh, those two characters died, this character, this character. It's like, I don't care about any of these characters, man.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a hell? Who gives a shit? These
Yeah.
people, we don't, there's no like deep backstory. There's no like building them up. There's nothing. It's just like, here's this character. He's joining the crew.
Yeah.
And it's like, who cares? Who are these people? Nobody knows. Nobody cares because no one has built up any kind of relationship with them at all.
Yeah. I mean, even in the first half, the guys on the planet are written like the biggest idiot, like the main guy.
Oh yeah.
He's just like, oh, I know more than anyone here. I'm obviously the smartest guy. I'll tell him about our grain and everything like that. He's the village chief is, trying to protect us, but I know that we can deal with these guys. I know what's best. And then he gets the village chief killed.
Yep.
Oh, well, fuck. I guess I got to leave with you now. But that guy I knew obviously was, I mean, maybe you don't know, but he was on Game of Thrones.
Oh.
So I was like, well, obviously he's not going to die.
Yeah.
He's going to be like a guy in the show or whatever. Actually, the chief, I was like, I recognize that guy. I think he was on House of Cards. He was like a senator or something. Because I was like, oh, I recognize that guy's bald head. Yeah. And then, again, it's typical like, oh, the cudgel of whatever. Make up some fucking fake name in there. It's like, what do we care? I don't know any of this. So, but I guess, is that any different than you would watch Star Wars and they'd be like, oh, it's like when I shot Womp Rat. It's like, what the fuck's a Womp Rat? What does that mean to me? It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. But when they do it in Star Wars, it's like, okay.
Yeah, but that's only because you have a history with Star Wars.
That's true.
This movie is how Star Wars started off.
Yeah.
It's like, the Force? What the fuck is the Force? What's an Obi-Wan?
And this movie, you can tell that Zack Snyder made it 100%.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like
sure.
it's like like the shots you like think back to 300. It's like, oh, I've seen this shot in 300.
Yeah.
Like this is the exact same, like the depth of field, the backgrounds.
Well, he's got the same
slow-mo.
He's got the style that he does.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is by far my least favorite Zack Snyder thing I've ever seen.
Just terrible.
Yeah, I didn't think it was particularly good. I will not continue to watch. I mean, maybe one day down the road I'll be like, let me see. But the other thing too is like, I'm watching the show and they go to the planet. They go in the bar, they get in a fight, they kill the guy, they get rescued by this other guy. And as soon as he shows up, I'm like, well, that's the guy from like that biker show. So obviously he's a part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to die. He's a actor that's popular.
Yep.
So I just was like, okay, whatever. That's the way it's going to be. Like the one thing I'm surprised with is that the robot didn't have a recognizable voice. Like of a famous actor, it'd be like, oh yeah. They did get like, whoever.
Yeah.
That is Chris Pratt's voice right there. Because that's what Star Wars has been. It's like, oh, we don't, this guy will be a famous voice actor, like a famous actor here. It's not like, some no name. So, whatever.
Yeah. And they do a lot with the robot in like the first chapter. They're like, here's this robot. He's programmed not to kill anybody or do any war stuff.
Well, they give the backstory like, oh, the princess, the protocol, when the royal family died, we lay down our arms and we can't fight and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. And then they do a whole bunch of stuff with him and then that's it. And then he's never in the show again.
But then they show he still shot the guy anyways. So. Like,
yeah.
So he's just selective when he can't shoot? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know the rules of the robots in this thing.
No.
So, yeah, pretty dumb. And like, I don't know. Anyways.
Yes.
It was not my favorite thing I watched.
No, definitely not.
So,